Welcome to the Immerse podcast. We are your hosts, Alex O'Keefe and Dan Ramsden.
We aim to immerse you in education via our guests, bring communities together, embrace positive change and help create solid habits that yield the path for our health and longevity.
Right, here we go.
We're live and direct now.
Live and direct.
We're on.
We're on, guys. How are we all doing?
Good, very
Good.
well. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good man.
Welcome,
good.
everyone. Dan, you okay?
I'm okay, mate, yeah.
Happy days.
Good.
Welcome, everyone who's listening to the podcast, the Immerse podcast.
Yeah.
We're back again with another fire guest.
Never been described as that before.
Someone that's become quite close to my heart
Yes,
over the past, what would you say, a year?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'd give us a year.
Grace Ramsden,
Hello, everybody.
welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You wear many hats.
I do.
We've had rugby league. Some would describe you as a social media influencer,
Yep.
but I think there's quite a lot of negative connotations around the word influencer.
I would agree.
So I don't want to put that bracket on you.
Yeah, it's quite a word that gets thrown around quite easily. People usually describe it as more like just content creating.
Content creator.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever angle that is that you're going down, you're creating content at the end of the day.
Yes.
Instead of influencing people to like buy things and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or to make decisions.
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly that.
So we'll leave the word influencer out of this, Grace. But for people who might not know who you are, can you just give yourself a bit of a roundup, really?
Oof.
Yeah.
So content creator. Been doing TikTok and Instagram now for I'd say just over 12 months. Grown a following of nearly 350k on TikTok, 70k on Instagram. It's going really well. The interaction's fantastic, which I love, and it's come with endless opportunities. So for people who don't know, obviously I did it originally with my ex-girlfriend, and now I'm going solo, going rogue, as we like to say.
Yes.
And channeling it down a completely different route that's more probably suited to my lifestyle and how I work, as you well know.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. I've seen a shift in the last few weeks.
Yeah, big shift.
Yeah.
More positive, I feel, more channeling the fitness world, everything that I'm interested in, and that's been a huge part of my life forever. So yeah, it's really important to me. Really holds a special place in my heart to do it how I want to do it instead of the couple content. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved it. It was great, but it was just, I know my focus. I know where I want to go with the whole social media world. The sort of like the stamp I want to leave on it is what I keep saying. Like, how do I want to look? How do I want to come across? What's important to me? How can I share it? And I think the more you share yourself, the more people enjoy it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Nobody wants to watch someone that feels like looks like they're forcing themselves to do it, or something that's a bit fake. You know, people don't want to see that.
We mentioned it in the last podcast with the breathwork coach, but I heard someone say 2025 this year, if you're going to win, you got to be yourself, online, offline.
Yeah.
And that's what, there's a bit of a buzzword, authenticity.
Yep.
But it's okay, because I don't mind that word being pushed, because I just think the more you try and act as someone else, you kind of lose yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I think I started to lose myself a little bit after stopping playing rugby and things like that. My life took a complete twist. And then I feel like I've come into this year with a complete new open mindset. And if I hear someone else say I'm glowing one more time.
She's glowing though, isn't she, Dan?
You're looking sharp. You're looking sharp.
I keep hearing it a lot, but it's beautiful. I love it.
But it's because she's a rammer as well.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be in the company of two rammers?
You're a lucky man.
A bit overwhelming, to be honest.
Some serious energy, is that?
Some
it is.
big personalities right here. Let me
Two
tell you.
Ramsdens in here. I'm not going to... It's a bit weird, actually. But,
Feel a bit weird about it.
a bit weird. But.
So yeah, it's 2025 is literally... I'm really trying to just focus on me, completely myself, myself and I. As selfish as that is, it's really paying off because, you know the people that I'm around and they get me through every single day. Do you know what I mean? They've changed my life.
Yeah, amazing.
I guess it's redefining your path in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's finding a new focus after rugby, and finding a new way of life almost, because that took over so much of my life that when that goes, as you well know, you sat there thinking, what do I do now?
It's a heavy bubble to be involved in, isn't it? And you literally live and breathe it. But I didn't realise how much I lived and breathed it until I took a step away from it. When I finished playing, I was like, wow, that was so consuming. You don't realise how many decisions are influenced around playing. And, you know, crazy. When you run, when you lift, when you go out and have, you know, social time, everything kind of revolves around your games, doesn't it?
I remember thinking one day after I'd stopped playing rugby, I didn't have a Friday evening for 4 years. I trained every single Friday night for 4 years, whether I was playing at Warrington or Bradford or wherever I was at the time. Training was always on a Friday night, and then you don't get a social life on a Friday. Saturday, you know game day's coming on Sunday, so you're chilled, you relax, you're eating well, but you're not really socialising with other people other than the ones that are literally just in that specific area. And that was really weird to just not happen anymore. You know, it just stopped one day, and it's like, how is that so consuming? And I think unless you're in it, you don't get it, no matter what that is, whether it's rugby or something else. But rugby league is such a family, and everybody loves it that much. It's really like your emotions are always heightened around it. You'll know that. And it's just to then switch away from that is very, very strange feeling. And that's when I really lost a huge part of myself.
It wasn't a choice of yours to step away from the game either.
No, it was.
How have you found that process?
It's probably, when I really deep it and think about it, probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do is be forced to stop doing something that I love at the age of 26. You know, my mum and dad paid for my surgeries, for 2 of my surgeries, and that was just so that I could get back to playing. And that's how much that they loved watching me and how much I loved doing it. So to be able to have them to pay for the surgery so that I get back quicker, even if it's just getting back for the following season, just goes to show how much it meant to them and to me. Because like it's even weird for them just going and watching, like they, you know, they're not going and watching me, are they? It's, you know, it's a strange feeling. But yeah, to have it forced upon you, just for context as well, it was like 3 knee surgeries. My second one was huge, and then a full ankle rebuild as well, all in my right leg. I just my body couldn't cope with it anymore. So like that's the reason for the retirement. But yeah, to have it forced upon you is a awful thing to have to process and deal with. I feel like I was really angry for months when I think about it. Yeah.
How do you feel about the game now? You know, in terms of, can you watch it? Can you be around it?
I haven't been around it. I've watched it on the telly because the season's obviously just started.
Yeah.
I haven't been around it.
No.
Haven't been to a game.
It took me a while.
I don't think I could go watch like the first game of the season, for example, for the teams I've played for. I think I'd really struggle with that. And I've not really seen anybody in that area or spoke to anybody necessarily in the rugby world for a little bit. I have more recently, but at first I was just like, this is actually really hard to just personally deal with first.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Like, because when I stopped playing football, I'd played since I was 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Every weekend, you know what I mean? And then about 3 years ago, I stopped because of injury. And I've honestly not watched a game since.
It's the weirdest feeling in the world, isn't it? Watching it on the telly, watching everyone in like Vegas and stuff like that, thinking that's insane. Look at that quality is that. It's so good for the game.
Yeah.
And it's so good for the women's game that it's really hard to just sit and not be a part of that because I gave up my entire life from signing at Bradford at 19 for up until being 26, playing like in the professional game, in the professional stadiums and being coached by professionals and everything like that, that then to be a huge part of the growth and see young girls at the games and, you know, everyone wants to take pictures with you and speak to you and, you know, you come into the last game of season, you're giving your boots to some little girl and you're thinking she's going to go on and be absolutely, 1, buzzing about that, but also 2, it's that's the reason why you do it. I've never done it for a payday. I've always done it for a passion and for the love of the sport, so that then the next generation can then go into it and then get paid. Because like now that's becoming more of a thing in the women's game, because we take that when you strip it right back, and you know we're training just as much as the blokes are. We're playing in the same grounds. Yeah, we're not pulling in the same crowds, but we're not far off on some of the games. And it turns out that we just don't get that reflection in the salary. Don't get me wrong, you get some expenses paid for. You know, if you're playing in Lancashire or whatever and you live in Yorkshire, you probably get your expenses paid, but you're not getting any monetary value from the sport. You are literally doing it because you love it, and you're doing it for the people that are going to come in and follow. Yeah. So to be a part of that for so long and watch it grow the way it did, to then just stop but see it continuing to grow is actually really hard to register in my head. Yeah.
How have you kind of compartmentalised it then?
I tried to forget about it. Yeah. At first I did, yeah. I really tried to just forget about it and dove straight into what I'm doing now.
Where are you now with it?
I'm okay. I still want to go back and play, but I don't think I'll ever lose that feeling. I've accepted it, and I've moved on, and I've found a new focus and a new drive, which is incredible, and I love it. And I found something else to be a part of, and another family. Do you know what I mean? That I love.
That connection.
Yeah. That's that deep connection and finding people with the same.
Tribe,
find your tribe.
She's found a tribe.
Found a tribe.
Big
and it's
shout
beautiful.
out to the girls, by the way.
Yeah, huge shout out to my girls.
Yeah. So, you know you are.
I know that health is a very, very broad spectrum, right? And I can only say it from my own personal point of view, but this is like a question to you as well. From stepping away from the game, do you feel like you are healthier now than you were when you were in it?
Yeah. I do now.
Same.
Do you?
Yeah, emotionally I struggled with feeling a bit lost on a weekend and thinking I should be kicking off now.
Yeah.
Do you know that kind of thing? Like I should be playing now. Yeah. You miss those those butterflies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you look at opposition, you think, fucking
I'm going to
hell.
absolutely smash
you.
Yeah,
they are massive. Bring it, come on.
Yeah.
You know, and you do miss that. So emotionally, yes, but physically, my choices, my lifestyle, I'm much healthier from stopping playing.
Me too.
It's quite a mad.
I don't miss waking up on a Monday feeling like I've been hit by a bus for 2 days. Do you know what I mean? My shoulders are knackered. Yeah. They don't miss it, and my knee doesn't miss it, and my ankle and everything like that doesn't miss it. But my heart does, and my head does, and everything else that's attached emotionally to it, that really does. But finding everything that I'm doing now is kind of giving me them feelings. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I could do that comp, and then you get that drive. You've got something to strive for and stuff like that, and that does help massively. But it is nice to wake up and actually just do some nice active recovery rather than go to training and smash the shit out of your mates for a couple of hours.
I want to talk about what you've got on to now, right? Yeah. But I'm just interested because Dan, you talk about like the culture in men's rugby, where it's quite extreme. You know, you're going out, you're getting boozed up a lot and all that. It's part of the culture of rugby, isn't it? Where you're all together and quite extreme personalities.
Everything's hard.
Everything's hard, yes.
Like you run hard, you tackle hard, you drink hard. Yeah. You just do everything hard.
Nothing's done in halves, no matter what it is.
Well, it's similar in the women's game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you'd spend 4 or 5 times a week with these girls, no matter what you was doing, whether you're going out for a team feed, whether you're going out for food, social, training, game, whatever that is, nothing's ever done by halves. You're always expected to give that extra 110%, especially in like the Women's Super League. You know, that's where you've got to be. You're expected on your game every game, no matter what. And that's same applies for training and eating and drinking and whatever. Yeah. Celebrations as well as drinking water in the week. Do you know what I mean?
One more rugby question. Yeah. How far off are we from the mark of where we need to be when it comes to the other end of the pond, as in Australia?
I mean, obviously, recently played in Vegas. Huge difference, I think in the game. And I think
what
they
do we
know
need
that.
to do? What do we need?
Professionals. You've got to make the girls professionals. You've got to start paying them. You've got to start pulling the right people in that can train them properly. They've got to train more together, but they can't because they're all working full time. They've all got kids or whatever that might be. You know, if the broad end of the spectrum, if you look at Australia, they're all professional athletes, they're all paid athletes, they're all on sponsorships, they've all got everything that they could possibly need to be the best athletes that they can be, and we just in this country don't have the ability to do that, and that's where the game needs to go.
Well, it's time to change, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
We'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll have a chat. See what we can do.
Grace, I'd like to talk about what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Because you keep mentioning it.
I know.
And I can feel the energy from you.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I loved about you first meeting you. Your energy's contagious. So I just wanted to say
Thanks,
that to you,
mate.
mate. And I think we're connected quite nicely straight away.
Yeah, we did. And we do now.
And we do now.
Yeah.
And you found yourself within a really strong group of like-minded,
Yeah, they're amazing people.
strong female.
Yeah. It's female
Icons.
bosses. Icons and legends. That's what they are.
And what have you found yourself into then? Like, what realm are you in now?
It's all a hybrid training, lifestyle, running most days.
I like how he said lifestyle there.
Yeah, it's a whole lifestyle change though, isn't it? It has very much taken over my life, but in the best way. I've got a really addictive personality, and if I get into something like I did with rugby, I will get addicted to it, and I will try and be the best I can possibly be at it and do whatever that takes to do that. So very much in the whole hybrid world now, and that's exactly what I'm focusing on with my career and my job, is pushing all of that and all the positivity. And I've had a lot of good comments and interaction around it, just touching on the social media world
We'll talk about that.
So it's beautiful, and it all just came from literally big old LJ messaging me one day and being like, just come to a class. And I did, and I never looked back. And now she's a huge part of my life. Speak to her every day. We train every day. Yeah, big shout out to Lauren Jessup. We train every day, and that's how it looks. That's what my life literally looks like now, and I wouldn't change it. It's a beautiful thing. I feel fitter and healthier than I have done in a very, very, very long time. And we're looking at Hyroxes. Yeah, definitely. There's going to be a few of them pop up, I think.
Okay.
There's some in-house comps and stuff.
Is that your preferred style?
Yeah, I love that.
Do you think it lends well to someone who's come from a competitive sporting background?
Yeah, I think if you're going to do a comp, you've got to have some kind of competitive streak in you. I think the beauty of like the high rocks and stuff like that is you can literally enter it and not do any training. There's no one that's going to tell you can't do that. If you really want to do it, do it. But for me, it's like I want to train for that, you know what I mean? I want to go for a good time, and I want to smash it out of the park more than anything else. That's just the competitive side, and
love
that person having that personality. That's what it's about for me. So to have them to strive towards now and train with the girls is what else can I want? What else can a girl ask for? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't need much more from life, do you?
Nah. Not at all. I just need B. Richardson to stop giving me loads of desserts. And we need to stop going for desserts every week.
You've earned them. Filling up. Get them glycogen levels top back up again.
We're really good at that. Really good at that.
There is just something really, like, because I found obviously myself in that space now after coming out of football, and it just naturally flows nicely, like from playing in that team sporting environment to now it's like one big team, innit?
Exactly.
Like you're there, you're at these days, even if it's a local comp at,
100%.
our mate Keno's gym next to us here at One Vigor Copley.
Big shout out to One Vigor.
Big shout out to One Vigor, Zach and Keno. But you just know that it's like, I don't know, it's like you just know you're going to get along with them. With people there almost. Not everyone, but there's a high likelihood that
90% of people are literally going to become a huge part of your life.
Like they've got, they've got similar values to you straight away, and that kind of amplifies like relationships.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was looking at, deep in it again, but I was looking at videos of myself from like 6 months ago, and I was thinking, who is that person? I don't even know. I don't even recognize myself from only 6 months ago. So to literally just being a part of this world for a short space of time, and the impact that's had on me emotionally and physically, is quite shocking. Like to look at myself and think, I have absolutely no idea who that person is, but I know exactly who this person is. And that's huge. It's not just had an impact on me physically, but the mental impact and the emotional attachment that I have to it and the people that surround it now is so important. And I hold that in such high regard. Yeah.
Nice.
Special.
It literally is the priority, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you can't put a price on how you feel. So,
No, you can't.
You know, that is my true measure of success, really.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you feel?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is success, isn't it, really?
Exactly.
When we think about things like that.
100%. I feel I'm literally just floating on a cloud right now.
Yeah.
That's how good I feel like.
That's beautiful.
It is. Like, no matter what else is going on in my life with social media and my job and some of the comments that you can get around that, no matter what's going on in that world, I still feel like I've got everything I need.
Yeah.
So therefore I feel less affected because I surround myself with the right group and the right people and that are saying the right things and supporting you in the right ways.
Yeah.
That no matter what's happening in my personal life right now, they can't take away, nothing could take away this.
Let's talk about that then, because you found yourself in the world of social media.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, if you've not got your shit sorted out at a foundational level, your personal life, and you're putting all your happiness in this metaverse, you know, social media space, then I think that's where like people lose their head, don't they? 100%. So it's like, talk us about the journey of you getting into the social media world and how. Yeah,
so obviously I met my ex, Katie Lee. She was doing social media at the time. Yeah. I literally didn't have a TikTok account at that point. I was just working full-time, project manager, nothing exciting, but just plodding along through life. Through rugby.
Right.
Yeah, through rugby originally. She was watching an old team that I used to play for. That's why I was watching. And then, one thing led to another. And I met her actually not long after my grandma had passed away. So, like, she was just helping get me through all that and stuff like that. And then, we ended up together and together for a couple of years. But I was just working full time at the beginning and said, I won't do it. I'm not doing social media. It's not for me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then about 3 months later, because I'd been on her stuff, everyone was like, oh, Grace really needs to start posting and really expressing her personality and, you know, she'd be really good at it. So I just thought, all right, screw it. And just decided to start doing it one day with Katie Lee's backing on it, of course. Yeah. But my life literally did change overnight. I mean, I had a TikTok account that I'd never posted anything on, and I woke up the following morning and I had 65,000 followers. Ooh. Not one video had ever been posted. I'd never posted a single thing. What? And I had like 15,000 Instagram follow requests because my account was still on private. And I was like, what is going on? And people had found out who a new girlfriend was, and obviously it was me at the time. And that was, my account was nearly on 100k followers before posting a single video. And I just thought, this is going to be the most bizarre life change I think I've ever been through. And it still is. I still find it weird that, you know, you go out and people are like, can I have a picture with you? I love your content, I love what you post and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what is going on here? Do you know what I mean? What kind of world am I living in? So that's still bizarre, and it took a lot of adjusting. But after I started posting, my account just grew and grew and grew, whether I posted with Katie Lee or not, which I found was really important to not just centralise it around her and our relationship at the time and stuff like that. You know, we had some mental opportunities, like, you know, we've worked with ITV, we've worked with Royal Caribbean Cruises, been on 3 cruises with them. Incredible moments that I'll never forget. Do you know what I mean? All of these really cool stuff.
All paid. I just want to touch on that because it's like people might think, oh, well, what's this for? Like, why do you need 100k followers? And, you know, and I'm not talking about the younger generation. I think they understand it a little bit more, but people that are, you know, in business, that, you know, 35 plus, and they're like, oh, well, I can't be arsed with none of that. Yeah. What's your message to them?
I feel like it's a way, TikTok and stuff like that is a way of changing with the times, right? So if you get on it and you get in it, it's going to benefit you in one way or another. Especially if you're consistent with it. If you're wanting to post, or if you're wanting to look for business, it's a great way to do it. People use TikTok now more than they use Google. to search for things and look for things. So like, you know, it's like this that we're sat in right now. People will be sat at home TikToking, where can I find a summer house, or where can I find a sauna?
Shout out to Make Room.
Yeah, exactly.
Make Room Living, Halifax.
But it's like you guys, you know, where can I find a sauna? I'll go on TikTok before I go on Google and look. That's how people work now. So that's the way of the world. You know, you want to find these new upcoming weekend aways and whatever else. People are looking on TikTok because that's what people are posting on. That's what people are looking at. People aren't necessarily looking on Google and stuff anymore for stuff like that. So I think it's an important social media platform to have, if I'm totally honest.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like, maybe like our older generation are a bit like, oh, it's just for kids that. But it's not actually, is it now?
No.
It's not. Like my wife Jess, who we've just been with, shout out darling, she looks at, like, you know, mothering advice and all this type of stuff. She gets some really good information on there. Don't get me wrong, there'll be some charlatans as well, but a lot of it's good, isn't it? Yeah,
you've got to filter out some of the stuff, but the majority of it is amazing. That's why, you know, recently just worked with Magnum, recently just worked with Coca-Cola. These big brands, these big huge companies are paying people like me to advertise their products, not on TV, not on Google, not on any search engine, on TikTok and Instagram. That's where the money is.
Take note.
Yeah. Jot this down, everyone.
Yeah.
And what sort of experiences have you had, you know, in this time of creating content?
Some incredible moments.
Jetting off every 2 days.
I know. Everyone's missing it. It's an emotional one, this one, but I'm going to Australia for a month. I was supposed to go into Bali for 2 weeks, but I've split it up as well. So it was supposed to be a 6-week round trip, paid for, all to advertise, work. You know, the skydives, dolphin,
I'll tell you what,
with
Grace,
dolphins, surf lessons.
Tell you what, just while we're on here, I want you to just read that schedule out.
Do you want me to grab it for you?
Yes,
right,
please.
I'm on it.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting for people to hear this.
Let's have a look at this.
And by the way, can I just open this up by saying this is paid for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not paying a penny.
No.
Right, go.
Here we go.
So all accommodation and everything. So we fly out to Sydney.
Sell it to us.
Fly out to Sydney. We're in Sydney for 4 days. Then we head to we do Blue Mountains while we're there. Then we head to Byron Bay and we do some dolphin kayaking.
Oh.
And whilst we're there, we also do some beautiful surf lessons and have a look at the surroundings of Byron Bay. We then head to Surfers Paradise before hitting Brisbane for a long weekend. And then we travel down to Noosa before heading on a Fraser Island tour for 3 days. I think that's when I'm staying on a yacht for 3 days.
Oh dear. Close your eyes.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah, everyone just... Wait, hang on. Oh no, I can't see. And then we do a scenic flight over all the islands of Whitsunday and head for a beautiful skydive. And then we go to Magnetic Island for a long weekend before going to Cairns on doing a waterfall trip, the Great Barrier Reef, rainforest tour, before heading back to the sunny UK at the end of May.
Oh my gosh. I think this is the part you drop the mic.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Can you
amazing.
believe it?
And that is the power of social media.
That's the power of social media.
Yeah.
It's like me and Katie Lee got flown out to Miami to go on a Royal Caribbean cruise around the Bahamas for a week. Everything paid for. Flights, food while you're in Miami, hotel in Miami, everything on the cruise, all of the drinks packages, meals, everything. Flight home, all paid for. Then they flew us out again for the launch of the Icon of the Seas, which is the biggest cruise ship in the world, and met Messi.
Did you?
Mate,
oh, wow.
I was absolutely steaming. The lift doors opened and Messi and Suarez were stood right there. I didn't meet him, but my mouth opened, hit the floor, and the lift doors just shut in slow motion. And I thought, well, that's it then.
Are you sure you weren't just on some magic mushroom?
You were Messi.
Yeah. Wait, hang on a minute, I was steaming Warra. And the whole Inter Miami team was stood there because the doors weren't meant to open on that level because obviously high security, you know, Messi and everyone like that's on the ship doing the launch party.
Wow.
And the doors just opened and there the little man was.
There he is.
Wow.
The goat.
Madness.
The greatest of all time, yeah.
So yeah, that's how my TikTok journey started.
It's just mad to think that, you know, just local lasses from Bradford, Halifax, whatever, can just creating content can get you to a level that can open these type of doors.
Yeah,
it's mad, isn't it?
It's bizarre to just think one day I was a project manager and the next day I woke up and I'm some kind of local superstar. I'm like, what is going on here? It's ridiculous, you know. Yeah. Like trying to plan a time to go shopping, and it's just crazy. Yeah. Like after I started posting, obviously I was working full time and trying to do it, and that was really, really hard. And I had to stop one. So obviously now I do social media full time since October last year.
I bet that's quite hard to keep showing up depending on what's happened in your day and how you're feeling and all those sorts of things.
That's the hardest thing. That's what people don't realise, and that's hitting the nail on the head, is that no matter what, you have this duty and you have this job to do. Whether you want to create content or not, you've got to do it anyway, because that's how you're getting paid. And there's many ways of getting paid on TikTok, which I'll tell you is TikTok Shop, going live in this moment right here, and then also a bigger payer is you can get paid for creating over a minute videos. So if you're creating a decent interactive over a minute video, you're going to get paid for that if you've got more than 10,000 followers. So if that does well, you know, you could be looking at a decent payday. And everyone's RPM is different, so I'm not sure how it works for everyone, but yeah, if you can get paid in many ways, many more ways than what people think.
What are the negatives to that world? Obviously there's a lot of good stuff which you've talked about. What's the negative stuff?
Because obviously now me and Katie have split up, the hate comments is just wild.
Give us an example.
Someone told me to
top yourself.
I keep getting it every day.
Wow.
Some accounts. How bad's that? It's I get told that I used Katie Lee for money, or bearing in mind I got paid more at my old job to start with than than what I did when I started doing TikTok full time. Do you know what I mean? People and I keep getting told that I cheated on her as well. Right. Now we all know that that's not true.
Yeah, we know this.
We know that that's not true, and it's just word of mouth, and it's just what people think that people like to surmise, because people don't realise that on the other end of a phone is a person living a life. They just think they're watching some kind of series. Sometimes I think some people, not everyone, 95% of the people are absolutely incredible followers, but that 5% will consistently be horrendous. Some of the comments. And I know Kaylee's had it bad.
Stand out? Do they stand out more?
Yeah. I'll be scrolling down reading the comments, because I always like to reply to people, because I feel like they're putting something into you, give something back. So I'll be scrolling down and I'll be like reading and replying to all these amazing comments, and then you'll just see one that's like boom, and you're like, you got to grow thick skin to it though. You really do. How
do you deal with it then?
I learned to block it out the best way I possibly could, and I started treating it as though that the hate comments weren't really coming from an actual real life person, as daft as it sounds, because they're all fake accounts. Do you know what I mean? They're all user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're all just absolutely hammering you with crap. You've just got to treat it like there's just not something real behind it. That's essentially
what they're there for then, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're just there to pick a fight, basically. Yeah.
So you just got to treat it as like that person behind that account doesn't actually exist, and just interact with the people that are showing you the love and support, because then that makes you realise that actually that's why I'm doing it. Yeah. That's why I'm doing this, because so-and-so has said that this has had a huge impact on their day, and it made them laugh, or it made them smile after a bad day, or that gave me some real motivation to get back in the gym, Grace. I'm like, that is why, that's the impact I want to leave. Yes. You know, I don't care what other people generally have to say. You just got to get a thick skin to it. What I don't like is when people go at like family and friends. Do you know what I mean? I know that my friends have really gone through the ringer recently with the whole breakup, because everyone thinks that now I'm getting with all my mates. Not true, but still. Especially old Lauren and B have really got it.
You got to keep that door.
Big Redhead and Elja.
You got to keep that door closed, though, haven't you? Yeah. You know, not open the door and let it in. And go.
Yeah, I don't want to go with them accounts, because then obviously, you know, they'll be like,
we got
her here. Yeah, not a chance.
No, it's something in the human psychology in it though, that I think we're designed to look at focus on negatives more naturally.
Absolutely.
So I think it's only normal to look at that. But I heard someone talking about hate online and stuff, and it's just like, you just got to flip the perspective and just look at this person who's sat there, you know, looking at your life and trying to upset you for some reason. Think how much like hate they must have inside of them to do that.
Must be horrendous.
It's just like,
that's what I always think as well, is you're saying this, how much must you actually feel, you know, like about yourself or whatever, or you know, you got to have something going on in your own life in that kind of situation to even be doing that. Like, focusing on the positive is harder than focusing on the negative for definite, but I feel like you've got to really push that, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do for the rest of the year, is hammer home how positive my life can be if I just channel it right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that goes all the way back to going back to the rugby stuff. Like, I felt like I would just lost myself completely, put weight on, weren't looking after myself, and then just one day that switch just flipped, and now I'm like a whole new woman. Don't recognise myself anymore.
What was the switch?
I think I just looked at myself one day and thought something has to change. Genuinely, I went on holiday and I didn't like what I looked like. I didn't like my attitude. I was short-tempered and everything like that. And I was like, this isn't you. You know, you're not like this. You're happy, you're positive, you're bubbly, you're strong and you're fit. But I wasn't at the time. And I knew that I needed to get that back. And then that's when I took Lauren up on the offer to go to a class at One Vigor, and I was just like, wow, I need more of this in my life consistently.
It's quite humbling as well, isn't it?
It's a humbling experience. When you've stopped playing rugby and then you've had a few months, we're a fair few months off, and I'd obviously had surgery as well, and I wanted to get into something since my last surgery where I was just like, after this something has to change, and then that were it. Then I was like, I'm going to a class and literally never look back. We love a 5 a.m. now, don't we?
Ah, do we?
Do we?
Do we, mate? It's lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle choice, isn't it?
It is.
That is the message.
It is.
Ultimately, isn't it? That's why we do what we do, and that's why we do this podcast, because it's just to reiterate that this is the life kind of thing.
And it's so important. So important. Because when people say to me, oh, what motivates you? Myself. I motivate myself to get up and get out of bed and do the run, do the class, do the strength, do whatever it is. You've got to have something inside you, some fire in your belly or something to get yourself out there.
Why though, for you?
Why? Because it controls my mental state. It puts me in the right frame of mind. It makes me feel good about myself and about other people. And everyone needs something, no matter what it is that you're doing. You could be sat at home and you could be a gamer, but you need something. Like, they need that, I need this. And this is what I put all my energy and effort into. And I feel like that's been embedded into me since I was a child. You know, I started skiing when I was 3 years old, and I ski raced all the way through to being 16 when I snapped my ACL and went all the way doing British champs and all sorts, and that was a beautiful experience. But then that soon came to a standstill, and that's when I found rugby again. Rugby's been a part of my life my whole life, but took that as far as I could, playing in the Super League and stuff like that. And then now I've got this. It's like there's always something. I'm always going to find something to strive, and I feel like that's being embedded in me by my mum and dad.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Big shout out to Christmas Day.
Yeah. Big shout out to them guys. So were your parents like very conscious to get you into this stuff early on, and what's like their background
with sport and things like that? Yeah, so like my dad's played rugby his entire life, and he's played football and cricket, and he watches every single sport under the sun every single day. And he was definitely a huge factor in, like, when I was a child, being outside playing, always had a ball in my hand, or was always on a quad bike or something like that. You know, he got me into everything, and my mum went to every single game. Like, if my dad got me into it, but then my mum was always the one that took me. Because he'd have like rugby with my brother or whatever. You know, my mum would be taking me all across the country for hockey, skiing, rugby, whatever that was. You know, I don't think that woman's ever missed a thing that I've done sport wise, and that's the reason. You know, that's why I do it. I always had a thing when I played rugby where it'd be like, as soon as I came out of the tunnel, if we're in a, say we're in one at stadiums, the first thing I do is look for my mum and dad so I know where they are. Not so I can stare at them for the next 80 minutes, but I know that they're there. Yeah. And I know where, and I know that if I need them, I can look at them and they've got me and I've got them. And that was always my thing. Yeah. Everybody has a thing, whether it's you put your left boot on first or whatever. That was always my thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
and
beautiful.
It still is now. Yeah. With comps and stuff, me and B did the graph comp. I couldn't concentrate at first because I was like,
where's mum and pops?
Like fathoming about trying to find them. Do you know what I mean?
Sort of grounding you.
Yeah, it's that thing where it's like, oh, I'm all right now. They're here.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's nice. I want to touch on something that's off script almost, and it's something that we've not covered before. This theme, and for anyone who may be in this sort of transitional period in discovering themselves, and maybe some sort of advice that you might be able to give, or some words that kind of helps reassure where they're at. Yeah. I want to talk about sexuality. Yeah. And, so you're gay, yeah? Yeah. Right. So when did you sort of know that? And, where are you in terms of, how your parents took that decision that you'd made, and how did you break it to them? These sorts of things, because I think it may be something that someone might be like trapped in their own mind and worried about. Do you know?
Yeah, it's a really good question actually. No one's ever really asked me that before, so I love it.
I'm interested to hear
I
this
love
one.
it.
Yeah.
So I was quite young when I first figured it out, and I know not everybody's always in that place. I know people now that are divorcing the husbands and finding a woman. What I mean? Everyone finds out in one way or in their own way. Everyone's experience is unique, and I think that's important to remember, that no matter what you're going through with it, your experience is completely unique to you, and you're entitled to feel however you feel about it, whether you're scared, nervous, excited, whether you feel like it's wrong or right. You're entitled to feel like that because it's your experience. So for me, I was probably like 14 years old when I first thought, why do I find that woman on that TV more attractive than I find him? Sort of thing. And like, why am I feeling like this? I questioned myself for years on why, more than anything else. Like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like she's attractive or whatever? And then I just realised one day that I was like, oh, maybe I am gay actually, because especially being like a woman in sport, it is quite a common thing. Not that every woman in sport's gay, because obviously we all know that that's not true, but I definitely found myself being like more relatable to the people who were. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then some people that was like a bit older than me, maybe in like the rugby world and things like that. I was obviously established myself by that point, but I still remember thinking, oh, I bet some of these younger ones that are like 15, 16 and coming through, you can always sort of like tell, and then they'll speak to you about it like, oh, well, I'm questioning myself and like things like that. They're looking at other people and thinking, oh, well, how are they doing it? Do you know what I mean? And what are they going through? So yeah, going well off topic here.
No, it's not.
This is the journey.
It is the journey. This is the journey. Yeah. So yeah, I would have probably been, sorry I brought your mic,
don't worry, man.
Around 14, 15 years old when I first realised. I didn't tell my mum and dad until I was 17. So just before my 18th birthday.
And what sort of feelings were you having?
Petrified.
Yeah.
I was petrified at first, genuinely. Because I don't think that I don't know if they did know or not. We've never really touched on that, if I'm totally honest. It was hard. It was hard for them to accept at first, I think, because I think they were a bit confused about it all, which I understand and I respected as well, because I was also confused and misunderstood myself at the time. So there was a lot of heightened emotions around it, and we've come completely out of the other side though, me and my mum and my dad. Like, my mum will text me saying like happy gay anniversary of like when I told her each year. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, cheers, mum. And they're accepting of like my partners and things like that. Like, I know that when I was younger, I probably wasn't making the smartest choices with partners and things like that, and they, you know, they always say, "Oh, your parents know best." Well, they actually do, to be fair. Yeah. So I was like not necessarily making great choices when I was a bit younger, but I was giving myself some slack, trying to figure it out and see where I was at. But yeah, I remember a girl just like literally like kissed me one day, and I was like, "Whoa, well, this is it." Do you know what I mean? I was like, "Oh shit, I think I'm in love."
Yeah.
This feels good.
Snogging in the dance. Oh dear. So yeah, it
not
was.
Not much changes.
Yeah, so it was a very big journey that I feel like it took me many years to go through, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do you know what I mean? Some parents are just like, well, I know that that's what they are and that's that, and accept it, move on, never speak about it again or whatever. And whereas for me it was a bit of a longer journey. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have the best start to it all, which is fine and I accept, but fully came out of the other side of it and very happy and proud of who I am, and you know, all of the people in the community, and I've got amazing friends, and you know, amazing friends that are gay and everything like that. And yeah, it doesn't change you as a person. Do you know what I mean? People need to realise that, and even people that feel like they are nervous to be like tell the parents or nervous to tell the friends, just remember that it doesn't change you. It doesn't define you as a person. No. It's not a personality trait. Do you know what I mean? It's just who you are, and it's no one's gonna love you any less, or I at least hope that that's the case anyway for a lot of people, because my mates never loved me any less. You know, my mates still love me just as much as they did when I first told them, especially my friends from like school and stuff. Like one of my best mates, Alicia, she didn't give a flying monkeys, and she's always had my back and supported me no matter what. And she, when I told her when I was really young, didn't change our relationship. Never fancied her. Love you, but never fancied her. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's you know, just because I'm gay don't mean I fancy everyone. Yeah.
The real ones stay. Yeah.
The real ones stay, and the other ones you flush them out.
That's all right. I've got a little scenario that I want to paint for you here. Right.
Is it a business proposition again?
No, I'll talk about you later.
Oh, good God.
I'll mention that later. Right. So I want you to imagine.
Do I need to shut my eyes for this?
We're all outside. We're walking into this room, right? Yeah. Where you're sat right now is the 14-year-old version of yourself. What would you say to her?
I'd say, you've come a long way, and you should be really proud of everything that you've done and achieved. And I tell her that everything works out okay in the end, no matter what. And to hold your loved ones close.
Nice.
That's what I'd say.
Power.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Love power.
Nice, mate.
I feel like I just need to breathe for a minute.
Yeah, I know.
That was heavy, that
was, wasn't it?
Yeah, you took me on one there.
Taking you on a journey.
Yeah, we're off with that.
I'm ready to cry with you there.
Yeah. We get deep, don't we?
Let's just say somebody has got these feelings that you once had.
Yeah.
And they're feeling shame or guilt or confused.
Yeah.
What's your message to that person?
That it's okay to feel like that. It's okay to feel confused and scared and nervous and even angry at yourself for feeling the way you do. I felt angry at myself, like why am I like this? But then when you start to accept it and start to accept who you are, that's when you really find yourself. So have a minute, breathe, think about it, and then think about how you're going to address it in a positive way to move forward with your life and move forward with how you feel, because I ended up finding some amazing experiences from being the way I am and who I am when I started to accept it and become myself. It's when you really find yourself, when you just sit back and think it's going to be okay.
There's no facade. I think people can see through facades anyway. You know, they just know that there's something not sitting well with someone. And
and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people who can be homophobic still in this day and age, but you just learn to think that those are the narrow-minded. Do you know what I mean? Those are the narrow-minded people. We live in a world where there's much more open-mindedness now.
Yeah.
And there's always, there's so many like support groups around it and things like that. And the whole community and pride and stuff like that is a huge factor that helps people. Like, personally for me, I never really did that. I just battled with it myself, and that's how I coped. But there is always that option as well. Do you know what I mean? And it's defo just remember that the people who are like, well, that's not right, are genuinely the more narrow-minded, negative people anyway. So they're the people that you don't really want in your life. You want the positives and the open-mindedness and the non-judgmental, because I think that those are the right characteristics that should be carried.
Amen to that. Well said.
Well said, mate.
Yes, sir.
I was just thinking about something when you were talking about that transformational journey when you were young. You were around like your environment.
Yep.
You were playing rugby with females some of them are gay.
Yep.
It just got me thinking, like, do you think it can cause a bit of confusion being in an environment like that and thinking, like the nature and nurture side of it? Do you think that some people become gay from being in the environment?
Potentially. I wouldn't disagree with that. Do you know what I mean? I mean, for me, I thought about it so young anyway, that like even probably deep in it as maybe even younger than 14, like as a child, like as you're growing up, it's not necessarily like it was a choice, you know what I mean? I think that it could have an impact on some people depending on what you're like as a person. But for a lot of people, them feelings are underlying from a younger age, for definite.
Yeah.
But I do think that a nature perspective could take, precedent on it, for definite. Maybe.
Interesting, isn't it?
I'll ask around. Get back to you.
Just got me thinking.
Nice.
Because environment's very powerful, isn't it? And your sort of micro environment that you surround yourself with.
Oh God, yeah.
Belief systems come in and
absolutely. And like what you start to morph into these people that you spend your time with. That's why you do it. Do you know what I mean? Like me now, the people that I spend my time with. Look how much I've grown over the past sort of like 6 to 8 months. When I look back and I'm like, wow, I won't change my life now for the world. I've found my place. But before, it was a totally different story.
I can genuinely see that because you're just so relaxed and you're flowing. You're flowing with how you speak. You articulate really nicely. Do you know what I mean? You just look chilled.
Yeah.
Laser focused at the same time.
Yeah.
I like it. I like your energy at the minute. It's good.
Yeah, it's a new version.
Yeah.
New version of me.
So what's next for you? What do you see the next 12 months to look like? Obviously, you've got your beautiful trip coming up, but what's looking ahead for you?
I want some big brand deals this year in work world. So like I want to be working with good brands, positive brands around the fitness industry, and I want to just focus my choices on social media as travel and positivity and truth as well, like how you're feeling truthfully and like sharing all of the experiences in that way. And then I want to really focus on the gym and hybrid training, high roxes and stuff like that, and get some of them under my belt and really test myself, because like, you know what pre-game nerves are like. I miss that, but I'm also like cautious about how that might make me feel. Do you know what I mean? But I do crave a bit of that, and I crave a bit of competition and stuff. So yeah, definitely get some of them in the bag and see how I get on, and just carry on growing as a person and finding this new version of myself. And it sounds brutal, but I've had to make some seriously selfish decisions this year already, and they've done nothing but benefit me. So I just want to keep on thinking, how is this going to affect you? How is this going to benefit you? And making some selfish decisions throughout the year that are going to be important, probably.
Is that the message to other people if they feel a bit stuck?
Yeah, think selfishly.
You got to do some pruning.
Yeah, sometimes that's what you do have to do, I think. Think selfishly first. That's what I'd say.
I think that is a lot of self-reflection as well, though. And
100%.
I know that a lot of people struggle with that, and reiterating from where we picked up off last week, you know, with the breathwork coach, and giving yourself that space in it to think about this stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I've had to go through a huge, obviously, public breakup recently. And that was a selfish decision that I had to make. That was a tough one. But that was necessary for me and my growth and for me as a person and what my future's going to look like. So that's all very like me. But it's important to address that so that I could then become a better person and carry on growing. You know, as brutal and as awful as that is, and as hard as that was for me to do in the first place, it was necessary. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Fully.
yeah, I totally relate.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
You
and it's hard. It's very hard.
It's really
you
hard.
You can feel trapped as well, but you're trapped in your own mind most of the time.
You're absolutely right. It's quite a scary place to be sometimes, isn't it?
The scariest.
Yeah.
When you're not right in there.
Yeah,
That is the scariest place to
and
be.
that's when these decisions come in. That's when them selfish choices have to be made, because your body will tell you to look after yourself first,
Yeah.
and then you do, and you glow.
There you go.
As she is right now.
No sunbeds needed.
There's something you mentioned there, Grace, about, and I think it's powerful that we need to sometimes speak about our goals. We've talked about goal setting this year, didn't we, Dan?
Yeah.
You spoke about working with some brands.
Yeah, some big brands.
Name them, sister.
Can you do that?
Talk them out.
Can you do that?
Can you?
Immerse.
Yeah, I'd love to work with this beautiful sauna company called Immerse.
Oh, all right. Well, you're on board. We've got a T-shirt for you anyway.
Yeah, I got my T-shirt.
Yeah.
Some big brands. I mean, anything. Gymshark, My Protein, Honor Active. These are all clothing. Oh, I'd love to go on some like fitness retreats. Do some advertising for that. Cool. Do some advertising for fitness retreats. Do some advertising for companies, local companies. You know, even down to like trying new things like Pilates, yoga, paddle. I'm well open to trying all these new crazy things, and that's what I want to be doing, and working with companies that can help me do all these fab stuff. You know, going on all these holidays like Australia where it's going to be active, and I really want to work with a company that can get me away skiing. That's been a huge one on my bucket list.
I feel like
ski trip, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So they're all up there. They're in my manifestation list.
There's some untapped potential in this skiing game for you, I think.
Yeah, there is.
I can feel like you're going back towards it, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I lost my love for it after I quit ski racing. I was really young when I had to stop racing. And then I started coaching, and that's when I started coaching the season after my knee surgery. I was like, oh, actually, I really enjoy the coaching side of it. Like, it's really good, it's fun. And then that's when I found my love just simply for recreationally skiing again. And now, I mean, we're not going to Canada next week for family reasons, but you know, those are my favourite trips in the world. Nothing means more to me than putting some skis on my feet on a mountain. It's the most freeing thing you can do.
I've never done it.
Mate, you've got to do it.
It sounds so much like me as well. I can't believe I've never done it.
I swear to God, you'd love it.
We need to go. I used to snowboard.
We said it.
Yeah.
We said it last year.
We need to go.
We need to
make it up.
We'll do it.
Immerse trip.
Let's go.
Immerse ski trip.
Let's put mics down now. Let's get booked.
Build a
Right, everyone, thanks for listening.
But I think we're coming up towards the end there, mate. And I just want to say, I don't speak to many people that I truly believe are flourishing and becoming who they really are in themselves. And the way you talk about your passions and your direction where you want to go, I think you're truly where you need to be.
Than't you, mate.
And it's inspiring.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you, mate. I'll be there by your side.
I know you will.
And
I love you.
I think I love you too. I think you've got the power.
That's good.
I think you've got the power to. I think you've got the power to make a really positive impact for people that follow your page and whatever you're going to do next. So
I appreciate
keep being
it.
you, mate. Yeah.
Always. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being vulnerable and to keep doing your thing.
Yeah, it's nice to be vulnerable sometimes.
It is.
It is. Where can people find you if they want to reach out, connect.
Grace_Ramsden on both TikTok and Instagram. Always drop me a message. I'll reply.
Lovely. Slide into those DMs.
Slide into those DMs. Like, follow, subscribe.
No, thank you, Grace.
Super. Thank you both
awesome.
so much.
Cheers.
Appreciate you. Thank you, mate. Thank you.